Hey Metal Maniacs, this is Matt Gilmour of Divine Chaos, and you're thrashing it up on Dave Softees Metal Meltdown on Metal Messiah Radio.
Gods of war wage their own demise. I've seen a godless man indoctrinating lies. The soundless of the dying light fade from his eyes. Break down the wall, engage protocol. The serpent has spoken, and to us all. Abandoning fear, truth becomes clear. This is the age Armageddon is here. Armageddon is here. Hear the serpent's words. Cold blood in progress, destined to serve. Manipulate the herd. Lights have now been blurred. I am your enemy, nightmare made in flesh. My poison words are venom, your cause of death. I light the fire inside, flames of discontent. Your blood are final lies, and the words inside your head. None shall survive, conform or die. Soldiers are marching, end of our time. Existence a lie, death glorified. Obliterating nations, your land occupied. Your land's occupied. Hear the serpent's words. Cold blood in progress, destined to serve. Manipulate the herd. Lies are forever. Blood. Malevolent attack. I am the architect spreading filth and lies. I am the serpent god, flames of hell will rise. Fate has been sealed, the end is revealed. Now beg for mercy, now you must kneel. Submit to me, the adversary. I'll bring destruction, plague and disease. Plague and disease. Hear the serpent's words. Cold blood in progress, destined to serve. Manipulate the herd. Lights are forever. Blurred.
Alrighty, Metal Maniacs, here we go. Please help me welcome to Metal Messiah Radio, hailing from London, United Kingdom. It's an honor for me to have with us from Melodic Death Thrash Metal Band, or if you would like to say Modern Thrash Metal Band, Divine Chaos. We have joining us guitarist Matt Gilmour. Welcome to the Metal Meltdown. Matt, thank you for this opportunity. This has been on my wish list for a long time, longer than you know.
How's it going, mate? You all right?
It's really good, and I tell you, I missed the boat on the first time that you had your first full album out there, A New Dawn in the Age of War. I might have not been available, but man, I would have loved to guide with you for the first one. But I'm glad, really glad, I'm super stoked to be able to have you on the show, that we could talk about the band, everything going on with the band, about the release coming up, and everything like that. I've noticed from talking with you on Facebook that there has been some changes within the band's lineup. Would you like to discuss how and why these changes occurred?
Yeah, so we've been a band for quite a while, and we've gone through various members a long time ago, but the lineup was solid for quite a while, but it sort of wasn't working anymore with the singer. He had other commitments, and the band has kind of changed musically. So it didn't, not too much, because the same people are writing the music, but it sort of didn't. We didn't fit so well. The lyrics didn't fit so well, and the music didn't fit so well. So it wasn't really working out. So we made a few changes with the singer. He left, and then the bass player left because he basically wants to settle down, basically. And our drummer, who is on the album, he's always been away because he plays for Vader and Decapitated. So we sort of while we were making those changes, we made the decision after we recorded the album, James was going to be away so much that we needed a full-time drummer that was going to be around, because obviously he lives in Poland, James, now, which is quite a way away from the UK. So that's basically why the lineup changes.
Yeah, that makes sense, and that takes a lot of time away from Divine Chaos and getting your music out there. Because I remember it was 2018, you had the single Decivilized, and I was really saying, wow, maybe this is my opportunity to get with Divine Chaos for an interview. So, I wasn't aware of all the changes that were occurring, but it's great to have you here now, like I said. And could you please inform the listeners out there on who currently makes up the lineup of Divine Chaos?
Oh, okay. So on vocals, we got Jut Tabor. He was basically a mate of ours for years. That he played in a few bands around the scene, and he filled in for our old singer last year. And we always said, like, if we ever needed a singer, he'd be the guy, because he's absolutely killer. And then he was sort of not in a band, and then we sort of decided to make the change, and that's why Jut's now in the band, and it worked out for the best because he's absolutely amazing on the new album. Me and Chris are still on guitars, Chris O'Toole and me, and then the bass player, funny enough, is a guy that I wanted to get in the band years ago as well. He's played for some like big bands. So yeah, he's played for like the Andy James Band and Sacred Mother Tongue and Wearing Scars, and we knew him from the scene back in the day as well, and we've always stayed in contact. So he's playing bass. Craig Daws and Mariusz has been playing drums for us for about 4 years, but only for when James is away. So James used to be away a lot with Vader and Decap, so we used to have Mariusz to come and play the shows for us when James couldn't. So we sort of made the transition to Mariusz being our full-time drummer. So it sort of made sense, really.
I was watching your new video, Serpent's Words, and he looks so much like James. Did you make him grow a beard so he would look like James?
He only does a little bit. He's bald though, so he's got no hair. So only with the baseball cap on does he look like him.
Oh yeah. But I tell you, I was very pleasantly surprised and really stoked. The sound of the band is still really refreshing and still kicks my ass. I'm loving it, and I'd like to know how you feel on a personal level with Divine Chaos in the year 2020. How do you feel about the band? For me, I'm like really happy that Divine Chaos is still Divine Chaos, because you could have very easily said, okay, time to make a change. Let's change the name of the band and have a new band. But I'm glad that you didn't, because you have history, and you have great history, and New Dawn in the Age of War is one of my favorite albums of all time, and I'm just so happy. It's like, so that was what, 2014, right? So yeah, I was like really worried, like what's going on. But how do you feel about the band in this?
It's I think the band now is in the best place it's ever been. I mean, the band musically won't change because the main songwriters are me and Chris. Like Chris and me do all of the writing basically. So that unless me and him left, or especially Chris, if we left, then the sound might change. But a lot of the lyrics to this album as well, written by Chris as well. So and it was the same on the last album. So that's probably why we've got the same kind of sound, sort of thing. But we've always wanted to try something a bit more expansive with the vocals as well, and a bit more dynamic. So having Jut in there now is, it's amazing. Having him there, because he's just so good. We really tried to different things on the album, which you haven't heard yet, because we've only released the one single. And I would say that one's the most like the songs off A New Dawn. That's why we released it. But the rest of them, it's not too far apart. But we've tried to take it in a slightly more melodic realm, if you would.
yeah, I got you. Yeah,
the band's really good at the moment. Like, in a really good place. Like, everyone musically sort of like really knits together, and it's really good, man. Like, we're really happy with the album. Way more happy than we were with A New Dawn, basically.
Wow.
So 2018, this album was supposed to be out then, but we did the single as we felt like the band didn't sound right, so we did the single and released that, Decivilize, to test the waters, and we weren't happy with it, and that's why we made the changes, basically. So
really? Wow. Yeah. Decivilize, I thought it was a kick-ass tune. I love that tune.
Yeah. We've recorded it again on this album, because how we want it to sound, basically. So it's going to be on the album. It's the album sort of was ready 6 months to a year ago, I would say. But it's even then, from what we had written then, when we went into the studio, I mean, we were changing things in the studio because we didn't know how Jut was going to fit into the music, when you haven't recorded with someone before. But yeah, it worked out great, really. Well, better than we could have ever expected, I would say.
That's great to hear. I'm happy that you're happy with that, because that means your fans are going to be happy about it too, I'm sure.
I think so, definitely.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear the full release. And so I'm really, like I said, happy that we have this opportunity to talk about this music. And let's go into a little bit of the band's history, knowing that the band formed in 2006. There's bands out there also like Chaos Divine Chaos, and there's other Divine Chaoses, or that sort of sound, or that sort of name, I should say. I'd like to know how your band, how did the name come to be? Who selected Divine Chaos as your band's name?
So, I had to rack my brain for this one. So I think this, because we all used to go to a lot of festivals back in the day together. We still do now, not as much now. But how I met Chris and how I eventually got in the band is I met him at Download Festival in Donington. One year Metallica played, and I met him in a car park, and we ended up having a jam on an acoustic guitar. That's how I ended up getting a band. But anyway, before that, Ben met them with me in Reading Festival. Can't remember what year that was. And Ben had always had this name. Me and Ben, the old singer, go back. We've known each other since like 12 or 13. So me and Ben knew each other before the band. And then Ben had this name for a band, and they were looking for a singer. So Ben joined the band, and I think he named the band. That's what I think I remember. No one can really remember. It's a bit hazy, but I'm sure Ben came up with the name.
Wow. You must have had a lot of fun back then not to remember that.
Yeah. But I'm sure it was his. I'm pretty sure it's his. Ben came up with the name, and if I remember rightly, I think it was at Reading Festival. He sort of like mentioned it to them. You should call the band this, and then the rest is history. Then I joined the band a couple of years later, I think. Because I used to go and watch them, but the band wasn't really too serious at that point. They used to do like Testament covers and do a few of their own songs, and then they released an EP. And then started to form a proper lineup, and that's where the band sort of started, really.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that information with us. And like I was mentioning before, A New Dawn in the Age of War. This was released in 2014, but still today, in the year 2020, it still sounds fresh to me. And when I play it, I still loving what I hear. So this is timeless music that you created there in 2014. And we're here now to talk about your brand new upcoming offering, The Way to Oblivion. You've shared the graphics with me, and I got to tell you, a really outstanding graphic, and even the Serpent's Words graphics, unbelievable how good this came out. I'm interested to know all about your graphics and stuff like this, and I just want to make sure I got the release date correctly. I think I noticed you said it was April 1st is when this will be the official scheduled release date?
Yeah, so the release date, we're just waiting on the final mix, really, because the guy we go to, Scott Atkins at Grindstone Studios, he's like amazing, but he's always doing a lot of bands, big bands. He's done like Behemoth, Silosis. He's just finished the Vader album, and he's doing a Benediction album at the moment. So he's trying to juggle us, Benediction, Vader. We should have the final mix. We haven't got the final mix of the whole album yet. We just got the single was just like a single mix. So we should have it in February time. So then once we do that, we'll knock a few more videos out, and I think we're looking for like April 1st or April-ish sort of release time.
It'll be here before you know it, but I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you about this now before I head back to Softy Land. And this is going to be released on Evil Eye Records, right?
No. We're not going to release it on them. I don't know what we're going to do at the moment. Actually, we're going to pitch it to Abel. Okay. So yeah, we're going to see. That's why we need a bit of time once we got the mix to send it out to people and that.
I see. I was going by what I saw on the Metal Archives, but you can never go by what that says, just like you can't go by what Wikipedia says, because it's not always accurate.
Metal Archive, there's some like really funny things on there about the band, because there's loads of stuff that's not true. It's quite funny. So there's a bit on there actually I saw the other day that one of the fans sent to me, said, "Is this true?" Like one of the guys who listens to the band. I was like, no. So it says that Josh from Silosis guest vocals on the first album, which isn't true. He did play guest solos on the first album, guitar solos.
I see, yeah.
But not vocals. But he is actually playing on the next single that we release as well. So yeah, he's guesting on the album again. As far as artwork, we got a really weird way of going about it. We look for like artwork that we like that has already been done, and then sort of just try and get that artwork if we think it fits the music at the time. So if it gives us the right, because we'll have like a visual idea of what we're looking for. And there's so many really killer artists out there now. Every time we've gone to an artist that we like and we've commissioned something, because there's like 5 members in the band, and when we've got them all involved, this turns into an absolute nightmare, because everyone's like, oh, I like this, or I don't like that, blah, blah. But we found that if we get a bit of artwork that's already done, and everyone likes it, it's much easier.
So that makes sense, yeah.
So we just do that. So there's this guy, an Indonesian guy, actually. He's amazing. So I just saw his artwork, and I was like, dude, this is amazing. So that's how we got the artwork. There's 2 different artists. So the single artwork's done by one guy, and the album artwork's done by another guy.
Great work. It goes really good with the sound of the band as well. And let's learn more about the actual recording. I'd like to know how your music all comes together, basically. If you could share with us how your tunes all come together, who is responsible for writing the words and the melodies, and then if you could tell us what studio this was recorded in, who produced these tunes, who mixed, mastered, and everything about the recording. We would love to hear that.
Okay, great. So as far as like writing goes, it's usually done between me and Chris. I think Chris wrote about 70% of this album. I wrote about 30. So like me and him get together. We get riffs together at home on our own. Send them via Dropbox, and then we'll be like, "What do you think of this?" And we'll be like, "Yeah, no, that one's shit. That one's all right." So then me and him will bounce ideas off each other. Sort of once we got like 2 or 3 riffs together, and we can say, "Oh, there's a verse riff, there's a chorus riff, blah blah." We'll write the structure of the song, and then lyrics come after, and Chris and Jut write those. Yeah, so a lot of it was changed in the studio lyrically, just because just experimenting with stuff and taking things in and out and putting them in and out sort of thing. So yeah, that's how we kind of write. We don't write all together. I don't know why. It's just the way we've always done it. We find it's a lot easier the way we write like that for us anyway.
Whatever works for you is the way to do it, right? Yeah.
Occasionally what I'll do then is if I've got like a structure of a song, I'll go to the drummer and play through it with him so you get a feel with it, and I'll be like, maybe that's not working, and then come back and then I'll put it all together, write all the drums, and same Chris does the same thing. Then we'll try it again, rehearsal, like, yeah, that's cool, that bit's a bit long, blah blah. So we thrash things out like that as well. As far as the recording, we did it at Grindstone Studios. He's the same guy that did A New Dawn in the Age of War. Like I said before, he's done like loads of big bands. We really like him, not just because of his sound and everything, but it's what he brings to the band. He's like the extra member in the band. So like when you're writing songs or you're that close to music, you need that outside opinion to tell you like, yeah, there's too much of this, not enough of this, do this, don't do that. Do you know what I mean? They're like the filter. So we try and listen to him as much as possible. Try and filter out where you're playing too much or doing this, do you know what I mean? He's like the extra member of the band. A bit like Metallica used to say when they went to, was it Rasmus or whatever, the guy did the first 3 or 4 albums, I can't remember his name. So he's like, really, really important for us when it comes to recording. He's such a good guy.
That's a great story, and it's great that you have someone that you can count on, that you can consider an extra member, even though he's not a member, but what his importance to you is that important to you, so that works out really well. So I'm glad that's working out for you.
I think a lot of bands, like, people don't realise that producers are a massive influence on bands. I mean, like, you take the Metallica reference, like when they went to Bob Rock and the Black Album. If it wasn't for Bob Rock, Metallica wouldn't have released a Black Album like that, because he had that much of an influence on them. And I think a good producer will do that, has done that all the time. You've got Colin Richardson and all these other guys that have got this kind of way of producing. They mould the band, really, that's what a good producer's there for. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I thank you for taking the time to tell us about that. Now let's talk about your performances. Now, I would like, if you can, to tell us and share with us some of your highlights of your past performances, including your fondest moments performing, and any venues that may stand out in your mind, or any bands that you've shared the stage with. We love to hear about that. And if you have any tours lining up in support of the new offering. I know it's the early stages of this, but I'm sure that you're probably working on that or thinking about that, what the future is for Divine Chaos as far as touring. So I'll leave it up to you to tell us what you can about that.
Okay. So some highlights. Well, we've been quite lucky really to play with like quite a few of the bands we really admired when we were younger. So I'd say one of the first highlights is because we know Vader really well now. See, with James playing with them for so long, we've been on 2 European tours with them, and we played. I counted last time we played, and we played in Slovakia with them, 54 shows with Vader, supporting them.
That's
so
nice. Wow.
Yeah, it's quite a few shows. We know each other so well now. Playing with Venom and Vader, that was a great tour in 2015, I believe. That was a really good tour. The Venom guys, and meeting Venom, Venom Inc. but meeting like Jeff Dunn and Tony and the guys that basically started Thrash Metal, and now we're really good friends with them. It's that was a real highlight for me. Them telling me all the stories and getting to know them really well, and what nice guys they are. Bloodstock last year, that was an interesting one. We've played Bloodstock twice before. We got a phone call on the Thursday. Bearing in mind Bloodstock starts on the Thursday, and it was 8 o'clock in the morning. Phone vibrating on the side of my bed, and I was actually on holiday that day, so I was asleep. And I looked at my phone, and it was one of the guys who books for Bloodstock that we know quite well. And so I was like, "What does he want?" So I didn't answer it at first. I thought, he's probably phoned me by accident or something. Then my phone kept vibrating. So I picked it up, and he said, basically, "Do you want to play Bloodstock Saturday? We've had a band pull out." So I had to phone around the rest of the band at 8 o'clock in the morning to see if everyone was available. And then we were on stage at 8 p.m. I think we ended up going on. So yeah, that was a really good highlight because it basically went us, then Anthrax on the main stage, and then Parkway Drive. So it was like, it was amazing, really, really good slot.
Wow, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was really good. Sort of, they had a lot of issues with weather and a few bands pulling out, so we ended up getting bumped up again and up again and up again. So yeah, it was really good, really good. One of the best shows in DC history, I would say, probably.
Congratulations, awesome to hear that.
Yeah, we played a show in Poland at Metal Mind, great festival. I think that was last year before, sorry. That was with the Haunted and Decapitated. That was one of my favourites. Yeah, we've been lucky with shows. We've had quite a few, played quite a few shows now. Yeah, that's what we're there for.
Have you ever had the opportunity to come to the States?
No, that's one thing we've never done. We've played pretty much. I was looking at all the countries that we've played in Europe, and I think we've played most of them, but we've never played the States ever, which we'd love to do. But it's just expense and time off work and stuff. But maybe one day we definitely will.
Let's hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely want to. I mean, it'd be amazing. But yeah, so as far as what plans we got coming up, we've got. I think we've got Tech Fest announced in the UK, which is quite a big festival actually. So that's going to be a real decent show. A couple of a festival in Scotland, a festival in Poland that isn't announced yet. A couple of random shows in the UK. That's it at the moment. We're going to look at trying doing a tour, but yeah, we're not too sure at the moment. We're going to wait until we get the album out and then worry about that after.
Makes sense. So, when you know more information about your future touring, please hit me up. Send me a message on Facebook, and I'll be more than happy to share the word.
Thanks, man. That's awesome.
That's what we do, right? And let's talk videos at this time. I was looking at your YouTube channel, Divine Chaos, and of course we had the 2018 Decivilized that you said you're not too happy about that song. I think it's a kick-ass tune. I can't wait to hear the new version of it on your upcoming album, and also your brand new Serpent's Words video. Now, I closed my eyes when I listened to it the first time, and I'm saying, let me hear the difference. And honestly, I didn't hear much of a difference. I was very happy that it still sounds like Divine Chaos, but then I looked at it again. I was like, wow, look at this. I mean, it's like I would never have thought it was like we talked about the lineup change. I would never have thought, because you kept the sound true to Divine Chaos, so I was really stoked about that. So we see the official lyric video for Decivilized. We see the official video for Serpent's Words. I'd like to tell the fans out there, if we could inform them more, give them more information about the making of these videos, who directed it, and if we also can mention what other videos, because you touched upon that a little while ago, what other videos you're planning on making for The Way to Oblivion. If you could mention about that. I'm not sure if you're able to, because it's early stages, but we'd love to hear whatever you could tell us about that.
That's great. Okay, so the lyric videos we always get done by a guy called Scott Rudd, he's absolutely amazing. He does he's done like Opeth, and I forget all the bands he's done right now. I do apologise to him, but he's done a lot of big bands basically. He works a lot for Nuclear Blast, I think. Yeah, he's amazing. So we always get him to do the lyric videos. He's actually going to be doing another one for The Way to Oblivion. We're not sure what track yet, but yeah, we've got one. We've already got him lined up and the date and everything. So then we got another official video coming out, but it's going to be live footage from a festival that we're going to put out for the video as well, because we played one of the songs at the festival. So yeah, that's going to be pretty cool. So we're going to have at least another 2 before the album come out, 1 when the album comes out, and then we're probably going to keep doing videos, because that's the way a lot of people consume music now, right, on YouTube and stuff. So
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so as far as how the video is shot at a venue just down the road from me, called the Queen's Hall, which a lot of big bands played at. Luckily enough, I know the owner, or know someone who knows the owner, so we ended up going down there to shoot the video. And the other guitarist in the band, Chris, his brother, he does filming. Luckily, just randomly, it's what he does. You know, he doesn't do many bands, but he's got his own filming company sort of thing. So he came down and did the video, and that was I think his first music video he's done. It came out amazing. So yeah, it was really good. So we were lucky to have him. So keeps costs down. Yeah, so I'm trying to think where we shot that video within like 2 hours. I think we just took 2 hours to do it. But yeah, we're quite happy with how it came out actually, the Serpent's Words video. So yeah, I mean we're looking to be doing a load of playthroughs for each song as well. So there's gonna be loads of content coming out for the album.
Excellent. That's great news. And also, one of the most important parts of these interviews and supporting the underground is how to educate the fans on how they could support the band. I know there are so many Divine Chaos fans out there because a lot of them, they spent time with me in the chat room during the Metal Meltdown show, and when I told them about the interview actually is going to happen, they were as stoked as I was, so that's good news. But what we need to do is inform them on how they can support Divine Chaos by getting merch. So I want to give a couple of links out there, and if you have other links you'd rather give, please do so. So the first link is your Big Cartel link. It's divinechaosmerch.bigcartel.com, and then you have your Bandcamp page, divinechaos.bandcamp.com. Would you say these were the links that we should inform the fans on where to go to check out your merch offerings?
Yeah, I'd say that's the two links really that we use. They're pretty easy to to buy stuff off of. So, and it keeps it easy for us rather than having it spread across 4 or 5 platforms. You can get it through Facebook, but they all just send you to Big Cartel, really.
Exactly. Yeah, I noticed that. You hit. I think there's a shop link, or this is an URL there. You click on it, it takes you right to the Big Cartel. I checked it out, but I'd like to have you tell the fans on what merchandise you currently have available for them, and if you're planning on making new merch for the Way to Oblivion release, and it's not out there yet. If you have that coming up as well, whatever you have to tell us about merch, we'd love to hear it.
Okay, cool. That's great. So we've got the Serpent's Words like limited edition merch that's already out at the moment. Actually, just go over and check it out. It's on the Big Cartel, and then we will be bringing out merch for the Way to Oblivion. We're going to bring in CDs out, and they'll be in a T-shirt. We won't have hoodies for it. The only reason that is the design for the album is so tech, basically, that they couldn't print it on a hoodie and make it look good because it's multiple colours. So we haven't dumbed down the colours on the printing because we like it so much. So we've gone for a different kind of printing, but it would also be extremely expensive to print it onto a hoodie. So there will be new merch, and we've got at least 2 more bits of artwork for singles as well, which we'll be releasing later, which we might do for T-shirts, we don't know. But yeah, so we're going to make sure there's a lot of merch there for people to buy.
Excellent. And I'll have to check that. I get some for myself as well. Long time overdue. And what do you do when you're not doing the band? Would you like to talk about what the other members of Divine Chaos do as well? You can, or unless you just want to talk about what you do.
So what we do for work?
Yeah, because it's been 2014, so it's been 6 years that you haven't really been able to sell music, really, right? Yeah. So you could do shows and make money from selling merch at shows and whatever you could do with your performances. But how do you survive out there? You have to have like a regular job, I would imagine.
Yeah. Most people in the industry do now because of like Lars Ulrich called it back with Napster. What Napster was going to do with downloads and destroy the music industry. Right. It has had a real adverse effect. I mean, the thing is, because when I was a kid growing up, you're probably the same. I'd save my money up and get £15 was the standard thing over here, and I'd buy that Metallica album, I'd buy that Anthrax album, and I'd listen to it over and over and over because it cost me £15 to buy it. So
right.
You really used to listen to albums to death and the whole album. But how music's changed now is people can listen to any music ever for £10 a month, all the music in the world basically on Spotify, and they can listen to it constantly. So it's made music not so, I don't know what would be the word. It's kind of a bit more throwaway music is now. Does that make sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. And you look on these blog sites out there, every day there's new bands coming out. I mean, how could you buy all these albums? Let's say you listen to this music and I love it, but you can't be buying all music from everybody. There's no way, unless you have a really, really good job and you could afford to do so. It's very tough. And so, what you're saying about Napster, the age of the downloading has really ruined the business because people will go onto YouTube and they'll say, I can look at the video right there. I don't have to buy anything, really.
I understand as well, because even I'm the same, and I'm in a band. You know, I can't buy all the albums I want. What I try and do, I've like certain bands I'll always buy from. But what I try and do is I listen to the album first, and if I like it, then I will go and buy it on CD, because listen to it on Spotify and that it's compressed and it doesn't sound as good. So like, there's nothing like listening to a CD, or even better on vinyl, because that's the best it's going to sound. You know, yeah, because that's what it's going to pretty much sound like in the studio when it was bounced, sort of thing. So it's quite interesting, because I'm so used to listening to music not on MP3 and everything from back in the day. I can really tell the difference in the quality, and I also find that I don't know if this is something you've noticed as well, because there's so many bands coming out, you kind of get like a bit tired of it at times, because there's so much music being thrown at you, so it's quite hard sometimes to keep up with everything. So yeah, I can see why it's so saturated, and it's so hard for people to be like, oh, I'm going to buy everything. So I don't think the old format would work with this amount of bands out now.
I agree.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as the band, so I'm an engineer, and I work for Mercedes F1 Formula One team. So nice. yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, it's cool. Sometimes a pain. But yeah, so, and then Jut, the singer, there's he works for this company basically doing he does like their advertising sort of thing online. He's sort of like marketing, head of marketing for him or something. So he's got quite a really good job actually. Chris, the other guitarist, he teaches guitar full time. So yeah, lucky, doing what he loves. The bass player Craig, he's like / sound guy / he like works all over the place, all over Europe. I'm not too sure what he does. We always talk about it, but I think he does sound, but I don't know. He does like build sets as well and stuff like that. I'm not too sure.
I see. So he's probably part of a union over there where he deals with this stuff. Yeah,
and then the drummer Mariusz, obviously the old drummer James, what he did full time is he played drums for Vader. That's what he did full time, and
right.
He was a session drummer, but he used to play for a lot of bands. He played for us and a few other guys. But the new drummer Mariusz, he actually works in fixing cars and spray painting cars and stuff. So yeah, that's what we do for a living.
Always interesting, right? Yeah, I remember getting with James for the Vader interview, and I had asked him on the interview, which band do you consider your primary band? And I was hoping he was going to say Divine Chaos, but it was Vader, because I guess they're a bigger band. But for me personally, Divine Chaos was my favorite band of the list of bands that he's been part of. So it was just a great thing to get to talk to him. Yeah, it's great to talk to you about Divine Chaos. This has been, like I said, something that has been on my wish list for, I guess, since 2014. So, and I hope we get to do this for future releases for you as well.
Definitely.
Really enjoy this. And would you like to talk about your guitars? You talk about any of your gear? We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, man. So, I could proper nerd out at the moment, actually. So, for years and years, I've always wanted a Mesa Boogie Mark II, but they're C+, basically. But they're like a very rare amp, and they cost a fortune, especially over in the UK, because obviously, like, Marshalls over in the States cost a fortune because they got to be shipped over there, and Mesa's the same back over here, Mesa Boogie. And I managed to get hold of one through a Mesa dealer and got a really good deal off him. And we used it on the album. So we used the Mesa Boogie Mark II C++ or whatever it's called, the JPC new, the new reissues, the Dream Theater John Petrucci amp. And yeah, we're super happy with that. We're endorsed by Ibanez. So me and Chris both play Ibanez 7 strings. I've got 4, I think. Yeah. So I'm looking at them right now. Actually, they're all racked up. Yeah, I've got 4. So we've always loved Ibanez. Really great build. I've got 2 Japanese imports and a couple of standards. But yeah, really good guitars. Yeah, live we were using the Line 6 Helix just because of flexibility and ease of use when you're flying. So we love valve amps, but when you can't fly with the valve amps, too heavy. So we ended up taking floor units because we find that it's, you can put it in your backpack and then fly and get to a festival and you've got your sound there. So yeah, so that's roughly. Chris uses the same gear as I do, really. So yeah.
Excellent. Well, Matt, I want to thank you so much for spending time with us on Metal Meltdown on Metal Messiah Radio today. I've been so stoked about this opportunity, and I can't wait to hear the full new offering. I'm sure I'm going to love it, and I'm going to have to go to your big cartel and get some merch because it's a long time overdue, like I said. I just want to know if there's anything at this time you'd like to say to your longtime Divine Chaos fans out there, or even the new ones. Maybe there are people out there that are not aware of Divine Chaos, and maybe they're hearing you for the first time, which I find that hard to believe, but anything's possible. Is there anything that you'd like to say to your fans out there?
I'd like to say to the long-time fans, thanks very much for sticking with us. Like, the only reason we can do it, or we even do it, is because of you guys. You know, bands would be nothing without fans, and I think even the big bands should remember that. Like, the fans are basically everything. There would be no music without fans. For new people, thanks for checking us out, and if you haven't checked us out, go and check out the new video, see what you think.
Absolutely. Matt, I want to wish you a great 2020, you and all of Divine Chaos. This has been a really exciting interview for me. I'm really happy that we've got to do this. As you know, we have talked about this, I guess it's from 2018. I had reached out to you, I guess it was with my James Stewart interview. I says, when could I get with Divine Chaos? So, you know what? I'm really happy we had this opportunity to do this. I want to wish you the best of success for all the years to come. Please know that you could always come to me if you need support in spreading the word, whether it be videos, merch, tours, or whatever I could do to help spread the word. Because in this world of the underground, we have to do it together. This is a better experience when you get a bunch of metal maniacs together and start spreading the word. Rather than try to do it on your own, you can accomplish a lot more with the underground work as a team. So I want to put it out there. I mean, who knows when the follow-up to The Way to Oblivion, who knows what's next after that. It may take another 2 years, another year, another 5-6 years, whatever it takes. As long as I'm around doing this, I'd love to have you come back on the show to talk more about Divine Chaos when the opportunity arises. Please know you're going to have an open door to come back on the show to talk about anything you'd like to as far as music is related to Divine Chaos. So you have that out there for you as well.
Thanks very much, man. I mean, like, guys like you are, like, you know, the heart and soul of the underground scene. So, you know, without people like yourself, promoters that put on gigs and, like, you know, spend all their time doing it and taking losses sometimes, and yourself putting all this time in, you know, it's the reason the scene's still there. So, yeah, thanks very much for that.
That was very nice of you to say that. Yeah, we got to do it together, though. You know, there's so many metal maniacs out there that are learning about all this great music that's around the world that they never heard before. And it's a pleasure for me to expose this music, and I can't wait to play more of your music. And again, thank you so much for this opportunity. I look forward to the next time. I wish you the best of success again. How about we go crank up some more Divine Chaos now, and let's crank it up really fucking loud. Crank it up!